Okay, hello everyone. My name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my 30th birthday book tag, okay? So, I believe I've done this tag at least once before. Maybe I haven't, I don't know. If I have, I'll take it up there. Maybe I should watch it and see if some of my answers are the same or not. I have no idea. But I decided to, without really any warning, literally a 2-hour warning, to go stay with my sister for some of my birthday week, right? I've shared this in a lot of my vlogs with my patrons lately. This winter has just been very hard, and the week of my birthday particularly is following a week of it was the Romance Takeover Readathon, which was great, but there's snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm, and I was just sick of being stuck. And so we were finally going to have a stretch of no snow and some warmer temperatures, and I was like, I am getting out of Dodge. I'm getting out of Fargo. So I didn't even take time to pre-film any videos at all. I had one in the tank and one video that I had to scrap. And so I was planning to film this birthday book tag, but I was like, I don't even want to wait. I don't want to wait for the time to film it. So we're filming in my car, which is cool. All the cool kids are doing it. Okay. All the cool kids film in their car. So we're going to do this. This birthday book tag isn't a super long one. And I'll be able to edit and upload this on my phone, and I won't stress about missing out on some work, because really that's a stress I put on myself. It's not a stress that other people have for me. It really is something that I do to me. And I'm trying to be good to myself. So here we go. Let's do the birthday book tag. I don't even know who the very original person of this is off the top of my head, but I'll have them tagged down below. I was also tagged by Lizelle and Tiffany and Melissa, who all have birthdays this month as well. They're all March babies, which is fantastic. So I love it. So let's go. This is only 7 questions, and I get to talk about all my favorite things. So let's go. So the first one is the birthday book tag. A book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adore it anyway. And for me, there are a lot of things that could fit into this. And most of these questions, I do have multiple answers, because since when can I be decisive about just one thing? But for this one, I actually just went with Entreat Me by Grace Draven. And the reason why I said the plot may seem cliche is that this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. If there is something that romance readers and fantasy readers enjoy, it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, okay? I feel like just saying that, number one, you'll have people perk up, because they'll be like, ooh, Beauty and the Beast retelling? Ooh, it's a mafia version? Ooh, it's a fantasy retelling? Oh, it's a contemporary football version? Beauty and the Beast tropes can fit into everything, right? But there's something special about Entreat Me. It was one of my favorite books of 2022, and it just completely stole my heart. The heroine is a sassy widow who is trying to look out for her young sister, and in doing so, she gets roped into an adventure in an enchanted castle where her sister might seem to be the heroine, right? Because she's the one who is falling for a handsome prince. But Lou, as she's affectionately called, she's just there to make sure no hanky-panky is going on. And if this man, he's not a prince, but this wealthy young lord, if he is going to marry her younger sister, then he's going to do it properly by all means. And she's not going to stay in his castle alone until they're married. And so she's there to kind of be a cockblock as well as, a chaperone. But she doesn't expect that she would fall for this man, Gavin, his father, Ballard, who is very much cursed and is turning into a forest monster type being, and she falls for him, and it's beautiful. It's probably my favorite Beauty and the Beast retelling currently. I absolutely adore it. It's beautiful. The lighting, I can't control, obviously, being outside, and that's stressful for me, so it probably isn't stressful for you guys, but it's stressful for me. Okay, we're moving right along then. Number 2, party guests. Your most anticipated book releases this year, because y'all know I could not pick one. So this is a video actually that I make every quarter. And so I will be making this video again soon. I should actually be filming it right now. I'll hopefully film it when I get home. Because I made a video about the first 3 months of the year anticipated reads. And so now I'm kind of looking at the next chunk of the year. Okay, so I have 5 books, and we'll do it really quick. An Earl to Remember. This is going to be the next one out by Stacey Reed. And this one is going to be good for fans of Overboard. There's going to be an amnesia trope, and it's going to be delightful. God of Ruin. This is going to be the next book in the Legacy of the Gods series by Rena Kent. And boy, did I not think I would have a Rena Kent on my most anticipated list, but I freaking loved God of Malice and God of Pain, and I can't wait to discover more about Landon. Okay, I need to know how I'm gonna fall in love with this motherfucker, because I don't think it's possible. But Rena Kent, she's proved me wrong before, so I'm anticipating it. Of course, Grim and Barrett by the delightful Juliet Cross. That book is coming out in May. It's coming very soon. Between Fear and Favor by Jess Wisecup. This will be the 3rd book in the is it the War Between or the In Between series? Whatever her series is called, with Between Wrath and Mercy. That one is going to be next, and I can't wait for it. And then The Assassin and the Slave, and this is by Jillian Bondarchuk, and I very much enjoyed the Thord and the Thithol, and the second book, which I can't remember the name of it right now, but I loved both of those so much. And The Assassin and the Slave is set up to be a fantastic book, and I don't want anyone to forget about it, so I wanted to mention it here. Number 3, Birthday Presents, a book that surprised me with how much I loved it. So I just went with 2, well, one of these is a reread and one of these is a recent read. And so both of them were ones that I was very surprised that I loved when I read them. Oh boy, this lightning's going to drive me nuts. So the first one that I picked was Nameless by Claire Kent. I've shared a lot about this one recently because this is a very slice of life story. This is an accidental pregnancy, and the story goes from their one night stand until the child is about a year old. This is how long the story goes. And they were acquaintances as children. This wasn't so much like a friends to lovers thing, but it's about their journey of co-parenting together. And I really liked that. I very much enjoyed this, and it surprised me because it has such a simple setup, but it was such a beautiful and touching story. Soul Eater by Lily Mayne. So this one's reaching back a little bit, but I did just reread this, and so I wanted to highlight again how much I was not expecting to love this book. This is one of the early books that I read when I was doing my book recommendation form that people can fill out, and I didn't like the cover of this book. I was like, this sounds so weird, but I absolutely fell head over heels for Win and Danny and for all of Lily Mayne's heroes and their monsters. I love it so much. So that's why I put it on here, is that I was surprised how much I love it, and every time I revisit it and reread one, I fall a little bit deeper, so I can't wait. Question 4, Happy Birthday Song, a book that deserves all the hype. So I have quite a few for this one, both old and new. So I put Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. It was so hard. There are so many old school historicals or older historicals that are hyped up for good reason, but also there are some that don't work for me. And this is one that absolutely did, and it's one that I continually recommend to people who aren't sure if they'll love old school historicals, because the heroine is so spunky, but yet she's not too overly forceful with things, but she's so smart, and the hero is a reformed playboy, and I just adore it. Then there's also Lothair. This is book 10 or 11, depending on how you count them, in Cressley Cole's Immortals After Dark, and it was a book that I was highly anticipating, and it's a book that completely lived up to the hype for me. I loved it so much. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's fantastic. Then I have 2 more recent reads. Of course, there's going to be Heartless. And honestly, I would say Elsie Silver as a whole is someone who has lived up to the hype for me. I've enjoyed or even outright loved everything I've read by her. Just fantastic. So I put Heartless on here, but really it's everything by her. And then A Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. So I know for some people this first book, it's a slow slog for people to get into this story, and really I do mean the series as a whole, the War of Lost Hearts. But for me, this was hyped by some people that I love very much, and I had high expectations, and it completely preceded itself. I absolutely fell for these characters in this story, and I gobbled it up as fast as I could. It was great. Number 5, Happy Music, a book with some truly memorable quotes. So, of course, without all my stuff here, I can't like read some quotes to you, but there is one like series particular and one author that I picked for this, which I know it's not zoning it in, but a book with some truly memorable quotes. Like, I would say Outlander. Like, there are so many quotes from Outlander that are just fantastic. Like, of course, there is like the Scottish wedding oath that people say. There's also so many quotes from Jamie and Claire, just both of them, about their love for each other. And it's such a powerful story. And if I had to choose only one book with quotes that I love from it, it would probably be Outlander or one of the books in that series. Like, I just love it. And then I also wrote anything by Kennedy Ryan. Okay, like any of the books by Kennedy Ryan are going to have very powerful quotes for you. Real, Still, Before I Let Go, Kingmaker. They all have these just, she paints portraits with her words. And that's something that my friend Tiffany would say. Like, she has a scalpel of precision for how she tells her stories. That's so powerful. And yeah, Kennedy Ryan just always blows me away. Number 6, Getting Older. A book that you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate even more now. So again, I picked 2 books for these. And one of them I have been wanting to reread for quite a bit, and I probably will reread it soon. And that's Jane Eyre. Like, I did want to pick a classic for this. And Jane Eyre is one that I connect with Jane Eyre in so many ways. I find something about that story so powerful. Like, I find things very powerful about what Jane Austen has written as well, absolutely. But something about Jane Eyre I just very much connect with. I love that she is like, I mean, the way that she was an orphan, but the way that she still like kind of believes in hope, and the way that she falls for this man, but yet won't bend her will or who she is to fit into what he needs her to. And the way that she has a faith that is her own and won't be bullied into things by St. John and by other people. And also that she doesn't lose her faith, even though when faith is used to like beat her or treat her cruelly, that she kind of, she has her relationship with God that's separate from what was like done to her in the orphanage or like how she was treated. And I really like that, because it's a stand to say that, I'm sorry that this is a bit of a side note, that like there are bad things that have been done in religion's name, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a great relationship with God independently. That's yours. That is apart from religion, because religion is man searching for God, but like God is like, he wants a relationship with you, the individual, not with just a collective. Anyway, sorry. I know that side note. That's my views on religion. Jane Eyre just carries so much of that in it for me, and I love that. And then one that is a more like, this is actually a YA romance, and it's one that I was so moved by this story when I read it. It's actually in my favorite books of all time. But I've been afraid to reread it. Like, I've been afraid to reread this book because it was so emotional and it was just difficult to get through. But I really want to revisit it because it moved me so much. And so that's The Lovely War, or Lovely War by Julie Berry. And I read this a long, long time ago on my channel, but it was so powerful back then. And I feel like reading it now, as someone who's read so much more romance and read so many more books now, that I would love it even more. Because even though it was categorized as like YA, it had some very powerful themes and very powerful things going on. And I just think I would like to revisit it. So I may do that. And then the last question is sweet birthday memories. Sorry, I had to shorten a word. A book that made you happy during a sad time. So for me, this one is difficult in 2 aspects. Number 1, reading as a whole makes me happy during a sad time. When I'm struggling, I fall into my family and friends, and I fall into books. So there aren't always necessarily ones that I'm like, I have to revisit this because I'm sad. But I did end up picking 2 that whenever I go back to them, I go back to how I felt the very first time I read them, which was extreme joy and excitement for the story and to see how it would unfold. So that's going to be The Takeover by T.L. Swan. This is on my favorite books of all time. It always brings me joy. It always brings me happiness. Even though there are some really tough subjects that get dealt with it, I think it's just so beautiful. And the other one is A Court of Mist and Fury. I've reread this book 15 times, easy, and it always gives me hope. And when I am in a dark place, I can go through the journey with Feyre of being in a dark place and feeling like you can't get out of it and getting there. And I will say that someday A Court of Silver Flames may replace that for me, because I do think there is certain parallels between Feyre's journey and Nesta's journey, but Nesta definitely is in a darker place than Feyre, and a different kind of dark place. But there's something about A Court of Mist and Fury that I go back to the wonder of reading it for the first time and the joy that it gave me, and that just can't be undersold to me. Like, it was just a revelation to read a story like that. And it can pretty much without fail bring me out of a tough day. Like, when I was able to reread that book for the SJM along, I was having a tough time, and I just set aside some time to just plow through that book in one sitting. And I read it all in one day, right, in one sitting, and I ended the day in such a better place than I started it. And that's the power of that book for me. So, all right, there we go. That is the birthday book tag. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you I hope you liked learning a little bit more about me, and I hope you didn't mind the weird lighting, because I sure did. But I was so happy to get to film this for you, even if it's in my car while I'm on vacation. But thank you so much for watching, and if your birthday is coming up soon, make sure you check out this tag and do it so that your friends can learn a little bit more about you. Thanks so much for watching, friends, and I'll see you soon back in my normal setup. Have a great day. Bye.